What's up, YouTube? This is Let's Talk Horror Movies here, bringing you guys a new movie review. Today I'm reviewing the Strangers Chapter 3. It's directed by Renee Harlin and it stars Madeline Petch, Gabriel Basso, and Richard Brake. It is the concluding chapter of the Strangers trilogy that would first debut to us in 2023. Or no, 2024. And then last year was Chapter 2, and then this year was 2026. Glad I caught that. This is, to me, the best of the trilogy, and I think it's my favorite of the franchise. I think because it takes chances, it's doing things that people do not want them to do, and I like that. I like because they knew they had to go different with 2 and 3, and maybe especially after Chapter 1, they had to make sure to really go different. I know there's reshoots, and that also to play in with this 3 or 4 hour cut that people got to see. Still waiting on to know if we're going to see that cut. I do hope that does come. Because I heard one person say that the full cut is the idea is there that they appreciated it for what they were doing as the full cut, as the separate cuts, like they're too, how people say it just doesn't fit as it doesn't make sense as a trilogy, or just like there's too many inconsistencies or certain things that just don't tie in well as a trilogy. But that's the way they went, and I enjoyed 1 to a degree. It is to me, it's the weakest of the franchise, it's Chapter 1, because I think they played it way too safe, whereas Chapter 2 and 3 feel like the ones that Renee Harlin really wanted to make, but had to do 1 to get to 2 and 3. Hands down, for me, the best of the franchise. So, I think also performances from Petch and Basso are really damn good. They use their emotions on their face to really say a lot, especially Petch. Basso talks a bit more, especially under the mask, which I know some people do not like that at all. But it's not as much as you think, but still, like, I like the look. I like his look as the man, but Scarecrow, his name is Scarecrow in the credits. So I like that look much better than, honestly, the suit, in my opinion. But I think he gives a really good performance here. I really enjoyed his work in these 2 films. But Petch does a really good job as well. Richard Brake, I think, just plays that, there's something up with him, and how he ties into with the story is really interesting, honestly. Now, some people might not like how the third act, how they handle him in the third act, I feel like went a little bit too fast. Again, probably need to see the super cut of this, the cut of the full cut, and see where that goes. Like, if there's any more that was cut from that, and maybe it has to do with the 2 characters they cut from the film, because spoilers went out, and it was revealed by spoilers, so they had to go and reshoot 2 and 3. So we'll see with that big cut, but some people already got to see it, so which hopefully I get a chance to see it. But the cinematography, the way it's shot, it's gorgeous looking. Like, it's really well shot. These are some of, to me, what a movie is shot and looks like, with the color palette and stuff like that. To me, that's very important. I don't want something to look bland, and that's one of the things he does really well here, and that was very important to him. I really appreciate it from Renee Harlin. It's definitely more violent than the previous 2, and even 2 and 3 are definitely more violent than the Chapter 1. It definitely goes into more flashbacks. It definitely goes more into the origin story of the Strangers, and that's the biggest, I think. I'm not going to get into the script or the dialogue or anything like that. This is the biggest thing, I think, for people, is that it goes into the backstory, and they do not want that. And I'm here to tell you, I think this, in a way, is a F you to people who don't like that idea. And in a way, I mean, that's just my thinking. It's just an FU, and I don't care if it was an FU because I actually liked they went that way. Look. There's certain directors that could make something, can come out with an original. Like, I don't think Rennie Harlin's the guy that's going to go do something, something without having to go this route. I mean, the creative part in terms of like doing something completely original with the Strangers, I just don't think was up his, and maybe also with the writers he had weren't the guys, the people to go into that. But I think for what he wanted to do with like kind of doing his redoing the original, but their version of that, because they're not in the set in the same universe, which is pretty obvious. So it's not the same Strangers, obviously. So I think with that, I think helped him wanting to go differently with his take on it, especially 2 and 3. And I just really appreciate that. I found it interesting in the ways that of how they went back and like, do you fully get questions answered? I think that's another probably thing, is like it doesn't feel like it goes deep into certain things in the flashbacks as much as you probably want, and maybe the cut makes that more in there, which I could see it being an issue. But to me, like, it worked well enough that it's what I wanted, honestly. Like, and the way they want to use Maya to kind of replace Pinup Girl, I think is really fascinating. It's also, you've seen the posters, you've seen the trailer trying to do, and it's just really fascinating. And even when the way the movie ends, there's even more of a kind of like, interesting. I know some people think this was a waste of time and stuff like that. For me, it wasn't a waste of time. If chapter 2 and 3 ended up like what the first one was, I could say that was a waste of time. But I think these last two really worked for me in the way that I wanted them to. And to me, this was the best of the franchise. This is what I want more of. Apparently there was an interview he did, it was on YouTube or something, and I think they got into him wanting to do possibly more. We'll see about that. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think most likely, if anything, we're going to get that super cut either in a theatrical setting for a few days, or we're going to get it on physical. I don't think he's coming back to the Strangers franchise, unless it does well enough to where they're like, oh, we want another one. But we'll see. I don't know how realistic that is, but I have a couple of nitpicks. There's a scene early in the beginning that something Maya does, and it's like, oh, that's stupid. I think someone in the theaters, oh my god, that's so stupid. That was stupid. But outside of that, didn't hear any other comments. But yeah, there's one scene particularly in the beginning, I'm like, that kind of feels generic slasher horror things, but characters do. I think how they handled Richard Brake's character at the end is a little, I wish they handled that a little bit better. But I still like him in the movie. I think he plays his character really well as well. And there's a character that is introduced that you didn't even, I think they even hint at, and maybe there's more to in the supercut, that's involved with Maya's sister and brother-in-law. But outside of that, I really like this movie. I think that the chances it takes and the things that they go for here is easily what makes this my favorite of the franchise. And it's, it is definitely, for me, it's worth going out and taking a chance and watching this. But if you're not a fan of the other two, I don't think you're going to become a fan of this, and most of you guys are not going to like it, and that's cool. I'll be on an island alone. I'm sure there's some other people that find it entertaining and like it, but to me, I loved it. I'm definitely going to add to the collection. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. This is Let's Talk Horror Movies. Signing off. Peace.